I never thought the day I got promoted would also be the day my entire life fell apart. It was a Thursday morning. I still remember the faint scent of coffee and my wife's perfume lingering in the air. Her name was Ji Woo. The kind of woman who could silence a room with her presence. She was warm, graceful, and ambitious. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 5. And until that day, I believed she was my forever. I worked as a project manager at a large advertising firm in Seoul. My boss, Mr. Han, was everything I wasn't: confident, rich, charismatic. The type of man people naturally gravitate toward. I respected him deeply. Maybe too deeply. That morning, he called me into his office. "Congratulations, Min Jun," he said, smiling. "You're getting the lead on the new international campaign. You deserve it." I could barely contain my joy. I texted Ji Woo immediately, "I got it. We should celebrate tonight." She replied within seconds, "That's amazing. I'll make dinner for you. Come home early." But she didn't. When I got home that evening, the lights were dim, the table was set, but she wasn't there. I waited, assuming traffic or work had delayed her. Hours passed. Midnight. Then 1. Then 2. No calls. No messages. My stomach twisted with worry. When she finally came in around 3, she looked surprised, almost guilty, to see me awake. "Oh, you're still up?" she asked, her tone too casual for the situation. "I was waiting for you. You didn't answer your phone." She hesitated, brushing her hair behind her ear. "Sorry, I was out with a friend. We lost track of time." A friend. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But something inside me, something cold and quiet, whispered that this was the beginning of something I wasn't ready to face. Over the next few weeks, the distance between us grew. Her phone was always face down. She started dressing differently, softer colors, bolder lipstick. And she laughed at messages she never showed me. One evening, while she was showering, a notification flashed on her phone. I know it was wrong to look, but curiosity devoured me. The message was from someone named H. It read, "Last night was unforgettable. Same place tomorrow." My hands trembled. My world spun. H. Mr. Han. No. It couldn't be. I wanted to believe there was another explanation. Maybe H stood for Hannah, her best friend. But my instincts told me otherwise. The next morning, I went to work pretending nothing had changed. But as I walked through the office doors, every sound felt amplified. Every word echoed. And when I saw Mr. Han talking on the phone, smiling, I felt something break inside me. That day, I didn't focus on my tasks. I watched him. Every gesture, every movement. The way he leaned back in his chair, the casual charm in his voice. And I noticed something I'd never paid attention to before, a faint red mark near his collarbone, half hidden by his shirt. That night, I confronted Ji Woo. "I need to ask you something," I said, trying to keep my voice calm. She looked up from her phone. "What is it? Are you seeing someone else?" Her expression froze for a moment, barely noticeable, but enough. She laughed. "What? Of course not. Why would you even ask that?" I showed her the message. Her face drained of color. "I can explain," she said, standing up too quickly. "Then do it," I replied. She took a deep breath. "It's not what you think. It's complicated." Complicated. That word cut deeper than any confession could. The silence that followed was suffocating. Finally, she whispered, "It happened once, but it didn't mean anything." Once. She said it like it was supposed to comfort me. Like betrayal had levels. I walked out. I didn't even know where I was going, I just needed air. The city lights blurred as tears filled my eyes. My wife. My boss. The two people I trusted most. For days, I avoided the office. I ignored her calls. My phone was a reminder of everything I'd lost. But eventually, I knew I had to face it. When I returned, Mr. Han acted like nothing had happened. He even asked if I was feeling better. That fake smile of his. I wanted to tear it off his face. But I didn't. I kept my composure. Because revenge, I realized, wasn't about rage. It was about patience. I started documenting everything. Emails, messages, suspicious meetings. I needed proof, not just for myself, but for justice. Weeks later, during a company retreat, I saw them together again. It was late, most employees asleep. I was heading back to my cabin when I noticed two figures near the lake, their silhouettes illuminated by the moonlight. His hand on her waist. Her head on his shoulder. That image burned into my mind. I took out my phone and snapped a picture. My hands shook so badly that the image came out blurry, but it was enough. Enough to destroy both of them. The next morning, I acted normal. Smiled. Worked. But inside, I was building my own quiet storm. When we returned to Seoul, I waited until Friday. I knew the company's board meeting would be held that afternoon. All department heads present. Including Mr. Han. That was when I struck. I sent an anonymous email to the entire board, including Mr. Han, with every piece of evidence I'd collected. The messages. The photos. Even audio recordings from a call I'd intercepted by accident. Within minutes, chaos erupted. People whispering, phones buzzing. Mr. Han's face turned pale as he read the email. He looked up and saw me standing at the end of the room. Our eyes met, and for the first time, he looked powerless. He was suspended that same day. The board began an investigation. My wife's affair became public scandal. And me? I felt nothing. Just emptiness. Revenge had given me satisfaction, but not peace. When I returned home that night, Ji-woo was waiting at the door. Her eyes swollen from crying. "Why did you do it?" she asked. "You humiliated me." I laughed bitterly. "You humiliated us." She tried to reach for my hand. "I made a mistake. Please, we can fix this." I stepped back. "No. You broke something that can't be fixed." For the first time, she didn't argue. She just nodded, tears rolling down her cheeks. That was the last night we spent under the same roof. Weeks turned into months. The company replaced Mr. Han. Ji-woo moved out. I focused on work, but even success felt hollow. I thought revenge would heal me, but it only deepened the wound. Then one afternoon, as I was leaving the office, I bumped into someone, literally. She dropped her notebook, and I bent down to pick it up. "Sorry, I wasn't looking," I said. She smiled, a simple, genuine smile. "It's okay. Happens to everyone." Her name was Eun-ha. She was new at the company. And for the first time in months, I felt something shift inside me. A small spark. We started talking more. Coffee breaks turned into shared lunches, then long walks after work. She never asked about my past, and I didn't offer. But her kindness reminded me that not everyone hurts you. Some people just exist to help you rebuild. One night, while we were sitting by the Han River, she looked at me and said softly, "You seem like someone who's lost something important." I nodded. "I did." "Then maybe it's time you find something better," she said. That night, I couldn't sleep. Her words echoed in my mind. Maybe it's time you find something better. I realized I'd been living in the shadow of betrayal for too long, letting it define who I was. But I wasn't just the man who got cheated on. I was still the man who loved deeply, who worked hard, who deserved peace. And that's when I decided to let go. Letting go wasn't something that happened overnight. It was slow, quiet, and painful, like peeling away layers of skin that had grown over the wound. For months, I woke up with the same heaviness in my chest, wondering if forgiveness meant weakness. But one morning, I stood in front of the mirror and barely recognized the man staring back at me. The anger had faded, replaced by something softer, a strange calm I hadn't felt in years. Maybe it was acceptance. Maybe exhaustion. Work became my safe zone again. Not because I wanted to bury myself in it, but because it gave me structure. Focus. I started mentoring younger employees, guiding them the way Mr. Han never did. Strangely, helping others heal helped me, too. Unha was still around. She never pushed, never demanded explanations. She simply existed beside me, like sunlight slipping through curtains on a cold morning. Her laughter filled the empty spaces in my apartment. Her silence, somehow, was comforting. One night, as we walked home under the glow of streetlights, she asked quietly, "Do you ever miss her?" I hesitated. Sometimes. Not her, exactly. More like, who I used to be when I was with her. She nodded, understanding without judgment. You loved deeply. That's not something to regret. Those words stayed with me. For the first time, I stopped seeing myself as a victim and started seeing myself as someone capable of surviving. Still, the past had a way of finding me. One rainy afternoon, I received a message from an unknown number. Can we talk? Ji Woo. My heart skipped. Months had passed since we'd last spoken. I almost deleted it. But curiosity, or maybe closure, won. I agreed to meet her at a small cafe near the university where we first met. When I walked in, she was already there, her once confident posture replaced by something fragile. She smiled faintly. You look good. So do you, I lied. The silence between us was thick, filled with everything we couldn't say. Finally, she spoke. I wanted to apologize again. Not for you to forgive me, but because I need to live with myself. I listened quietly. She told me how everything fell apart after the scandal. Mr. Han had left the city. She'd lost her job. Her friends. Even her parents stopped speaking to her for a while. I ruined everything, she said. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. Just pity, and maybe a trace of sadness. I used to hate you, I said softly. But now, I just hope you find peace. Tears filled her eyes. You already did, didn't you? I smiled faintly. I'm trying. That conversation didn't change the past, but it closed a door I hadn't realized was still open. After that day, something in me lifted. I started running again, traveling, even laughing without guilt. Life began to feel lighter. Months later, I got invited to speak at an industry conference about leadership and emotional resilience, ironic, considering how broken I once was. Standing on that stage, I looked at the crowd and said, sometimes the hardest thing isn't forgiving others. It's forgiving yourself for staying too long. The applause that followed wasn't for my story, it was for everyone who'd ever been betrayed and still found the courage to start again. Unha was in the audience, smiling. When our eyes met, I felt something quiet and certain settle inside me. After the event, we walked together through the city. She stopped suddenly in front of a small bookstore and turned to me. You know, she said, I used to believe love was about finding someone perfect. But now I think it's about finding someone honest, someone who stays, even when things get messy. I looked at her, and before I could stop myself, I said, you stayed. She blushed slightly, tucking her hair behind her ear. Maybe I just knew you weren't finished yet. We both laughed. The kind of laugh that heals something deep inside you. That night, We had dinner at a quiet restaurant by the river. I didn't plan anything, but somewhere between laughter and silence, I reached across the table and took her hand. She didn't pull away. There was no grand confession, no dramatic music, just two people choosing to try again. As weeks turned into months, we grew closer. I told her everything, the betrayal, the anger, the revenge. She didn't flinch. She just listened, her eyes steady, her hand never leaving mine. "Do you regret it?" she asked one night. "The revenge?" "Yes." I thought about it for a moment. "No. Because it taught me who I don't want to be anymore." She smiled. "That's a good answer." We spent that summer traveling. Jeju, Busan, even a trip to Tokyo. For the first time in years, I wasn't running from memories, I was creating new ones. Sometimes, in quiet moments, I still thought of Jiwoo. But not with pain. With gratitude. Because if she hadn't betrayed me, I would have never rediscovered myself. One evening, as Eunha and I watched the sunset from a rooftop, she asked softly, "Do you believe in fate?" I chuckled. "I used to. Now I believe in choices." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "Then choose wisely." I smiled. "I already did. Life has a way of breaking you before rebuilding you. And sometimes, the people who hurt you the most are the ones who push you toward the person you're meant to become." A year later, I opened my own agency, a place built not on power or manipulation, but on respect and truth. We focused on helping small businesses grow, and ironically, it became one of the fastest growing firms in Seoul. One afternoon, as I walked through the office, I saw a new intern sitting nervously at her desk. She looked lost, overwhelmed. I smiled and said, "Hey, you're doing great. It gets easier, I promise." Her eyes lit up. "Thank you, sir." In that moment, I realized I'd come full circle. From the man who once lost everything, to the man who finally understood what really mattered. Not revenge. Not pride. But peace. Later that night, I went home to Eunha. She was cooking dinner, humming softly to a song I didn't recognize. When she saw me, she smiled, the same smile that had once pulled me out of darkness. "How was your day?" she asked. "Good," I said. "Really good." She nodded, turning back to the stove. "You look happy." "I am." I wrapped my arms around her from behind. "You know, I used to think love was about never being hurt again. But now I realize it's about finding someone who makes the pain worth healing." She turned, her eyes meeting mine. "Then I guess we both healed." We stayed like that, two broken souls who decided to rebuild together. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace. Not because I had everything I wanted, but because I'd finally let go of everything I didn't. If I could go back, I wouldn't change a thing. Every wound, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, they all led me here. To understanding. To forgiveness. To love that doesn't demand, but accepts. My wife's betrayal used to define me. Now, it reminds me how far I've come. Sometimes, losing everything isn't the end. It's just the beginning of becoming someone new. And when I look at Eunha, I don't see what I lost, I see everything I found. I finally learned, peace isn't given. It's chosen. And I chose mine.